GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Police are asking for help identifying a suspect in the May attempted murder in Rivière des Prairies, Pointe-aux-Trembles, while Shapovalov's abrupt withdrawal has shaken the tennis crowd. Flood-hit West Island residents are demanding action. Emma, what do you make of that?
The International First Peoples Festival opens this weekend at the historic Old Port, featuring indigenous dance, music, storytelling, and visual art installations throughout the waterfront promenade.
Performances run from Friday evening through Sunday afternoon, with daily workshops, craft markets, and a nightly fire circle ceremony highlighting traditional drumming and communal song.
Admission is free for all ages, though families can purchase a complimentary festival guide at the information tent located near the St. Lawrence River ferry dock.
Lots to get to this evening, so thank you for joining us, and now, let's begin the night's news and stories together. Here are our top stories. Montreal police are seeking public assistance to identify a male suspect in a May attempted murder in Rivière des Prairies, Pointe-aux-Trembles, where a victim in his 40s was stabbed. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Police are asking anyone with information to come forward after an attempted murder in May 2026 in the Rivière des Prairies, Pointe-aux-Trembles borough. A man in his 40s was stabbed, surviving the attack. Investigators have released a description of a male suspect also in his 40s, but have not disclosed a motive. Officers say the suspect was seen leaving the scene on foot and are reviewing nearby surveillance footage. The SBVM says residents who may have seen a person matching that description or who captured video of the area that night may be able to help. No arrests have been made, and the investigation remains ongoing. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Rivière des Prairies.
Today the professional tennis tournament in Montreal saw a sudden turn as Denis Shapovalov pulled out of his third-set battle with American qualifier Zachary Svajda. Shapovalov, the hometown favorite, cited a lingering shoulder strain before the decisive set, handing Svajda an unexpected passage to the next round. In the same session, rising star Chan edged closer to another shock result, surviving a tense tie-break to defeat a seeded opponent and positioning herself for a potential upset in the upcoming quarterfinals. Tournament officials confirmed the withdrawal and will adjust the draw accordingly. Fans in the stands reacted with a mix of disappointment and excitement, while the women's draw now promises a compelling showdown as Chan aims to continue her surprise run. She will face a top-seeded rival from Spain in the quarterfinals, setting up a clash that could reshape the tournament's narrative.
Today, former president of the Chamber of Commerce of Montreal Michel Leblanc stepped onto the political stage, announcing his candidacy for the Parti Liberal du Québec. Leblanc said his decision was sparked by the vision of Liberal leader Charles Milliard, whose call for renewed economic stewardship resonated with his own experience guiding the city's business community. The former chamber chief, who oversaw major downtown development projects during his tenure, during his 5-year term he championed initiatives to attract foreign investment and support small enterprises, will now seek a seat in the provincial legislature under the PLQ banner. Party officials welcomed the addition, noting Leblanc's deep ties to the local business network could strengthen the party's economic platform. Voters in the upcoming provincial election will see Leblanc on the ballot as the Liberal representative for a Montreal riding.
Montreal judge denied an assistance pony entry to the Palais de Justice, postponing a scheduled hearing this summer. The ruling has reignited debate over support animals in Canadian courts. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
The courtroom doors at the Montreal courthouse swung open this morning, only to close again when the presiding judge refused entry to a tiny assistance pony that had been brought in for a defendant. The judge cited courtroom policy, stating the animal could not be present, and ordered the session to be adjourned until a later date. Court staff began clearing the space, while onlookers watched the pony stand patiently beside its handler. Lawyers and spectators exchanged comments as the hearing was pushed back, leaving the case unresolved for now. The incident has already sparked a broader conversation about the role of assistance and emotional support animals inside Canadian legal settings. Ramai Godreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
An investigative piece this summer finds Notre Dame East at a crossroads. La Presse reporter Maxime Bergeron spent a day walking the historic thoroughfare, cataloging cracked sidewalks, vacant storefronts, and lingering construction pits left by a string of half-realized renewal schemes. Over decades, the street has been the focus of ambitious plans that never materialized, leaving residents and merchants with a patchwork of temporary fixes. Bergeron's on-the-ground report asks what realistic path forward exists for a corridor that once anchored the city's commercial heart. He notes that recent municipal studies still list the area as a priority, yet funding gaps and bureaucratic delays keep projects stalled. The Chronicle concludes that without a coordinated strategy and firm financial commitment, Notre Dame East may remain a symbol of unfulfilled promise rather than a revived urban spine. Coming up, we'll hear why West Island residents are demanding action after June floods and what officials are planning. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. West Island residents are pressing officials for a response after a June storm dumped roughly 150 millimeters of rain, triggering repeated street flooding throughout the western part of the island and the South Shore. Community members held a town hall meeting on Tuesday, saying they have received few concrete answers from municipal authorities since the deluge. Environment Canada confirmed the rainfall was among the heaviest recorded for the month, overwhelming drainage systems and forcing several homes to be evacuated. Neighborhood groups are now demanding a detailed plan to upgrade stormwater infrastructure and improve early warning protocols. The outcry follows a series of similar events earlier this year that left roads impassable and disrupted local businesses. Officials have not yet disclosed a timeline for any remedial measures. They urged City Hall to prioritize funding for upgrades before the next storm season.
Gabriel Diallo captured his first tour-level victory at the National Bank Open and moves into the second round, set to play at Stade IGA later this week. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Gabriel Diallo in the stands of Stade IGA today clinched a straight-set victory, moving him into the second round of the National Bank Open. The Canadian, playing in front of a buzzing home crowd, broke his opponent's serve early in the opening set and held the advantage throughout, sealing the match with a decisive break at 15-all in the final game. The win marks Diallo's first tour-level triumph on the ATP circuit, a milestone for the Montreal native. As fans cheered, tournament officials confirmed his placement in the next day's draw, where he will face a seeded player in the following round. The atmosphere on the court reflected local support as the hometown player advanced. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Stade IGA. Yesterday, a Quebec Superior Court judge ordered that Air Liaison be temporarily restored as an authorized carrier in the province's subsidized Regional Air Access Program. The decision comes after the airline's status was revoked earlier this year amid government accusations that the carrier submitted false declarations. The court's temporary reinstatement allows Air Liaison to resume service under the program while a final ruling is pending. Officials from the Quebec government indicated the move does not constitute a final judgment on the allegations, but ensures continuity of regional air links for remote communities. The airline had been excluded from the program, which subsidizes flights to isolated areas, creating uncertainty for passengers relying on those routes. The temporary order remains in effect until the court issues its definitive decision. Air Liaison's turboprop fleet will now serve remote towns under the subsidy pending the ruling.
Severe rain this week has turned the quiet village of El Ascension in the Laurentides into a scene of water and earth upheaval. Heavy downpours triggered flash flooding along the local riverbanks and a sudden landslide that blocked the main access road, leaving several homes isolated. Emergency crews from the Provincial Ministry of Public Security are on the ground, deploying pumps, sandbags, and rescue teams to protect residents and assess structural damage. Officials say the conditions remain hazardous, with water levels still rising in low-lying areas and the slope still unstable. The province has been battered by a string of storms this summer, each bringing wind and rain that have strained infrastructure from the island to the Laurentian Hills. Residents are urged to stay clear of the affected zones until authorities declare the area safe.
Canada's tennis body unveiled a plan to add a retractable roof and expand IGA Stadium, aiming for a covered venue during the National Bank Open. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
The Federation unveiled a renovation blueprint for IGA Stadium that adds a retractable roof and expands seating capacity. The announcement came in June 2026. Construction is slated to begin later this year, with the roof designed to close in under 10 minutes, shielding players from rain and wind. The upgrade aims to give the National Bank Open a fully covered main court, ensuring consistent playing conditions regardless of weather. Officials said the new structure will integrate modern climate control while preserving the venue's open-air feel when the roof is open. The project also includes upgraded locker rooms, media facilities, and fan amenities, positioning the stadium to host larger crowds for future tournaments. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, St. Henry.
Now let's hand it over to our forecaster for tonight's outlook. Stay tuned.
A deepening ridge over central Canada is locking in dry air, while the jet stream steers calm conditions tonight. On this date, the all-time high for Montreal sits at 32.2 degrees, recorded during the 2016 heat wave that pushed the province into record-breaking summer temperatures. The all-time low is 13.7 degrees, set in 2019 when an Arctic dip slipped unusually far south, blanketing the city in a brief but sharp cold snap. By contrast, the climate normal high hovers around 26 degrees and the normal low near 19, leaving today's 25-degree reading comfortably between the two extremes. The live radar map shows no echoes across the province, no rain from the south or thunderstorms from the interior. This emptiness stems from the high-pressure ridge that has been building since yesterday, driving dry air westward and killing lift. With the jet stream aloft sprinting from the west, any lingering moisture is stripped away. The system will remain clear over Montreal through the evening, so we turn to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., the city sits under a clear sky with 25 degrees, humidity near 55%, and a light southwest breeze gusting to 25 kilometers per hour. Pressure is rising, confirming the high-pressure ridge that is anchoring the region and sealing in dry, stable air. The jet stream overhead streams westward at 70 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the ridge and keeping any disturbance at bay. Overnight temperatures will dip to 17 degrees before sunrise, then climb steadily to a high of 27 degrees by late afternoon. The UV index will sit at 7, and wind will stay below 25 kilometers per hour from the southwest. No weather alerts are in effect. With the atmosphere settled, let's move on to the 5-day outlook. Wednesday brings a dry, clear day with a high near 28 degrees and a low around 17, thanks to the persistent ridge. Thursday's warmth climbs to 29 degrees, but the western jet begins to dip, allowing a band of moisture to edge in, giving a 50% chance of rain in the afternoon. Friday remains warm at 28 degrees, though cloud cover thickens and the rain probability rises to 40% as the jet stream lifts further north. Saturday cools to 25 degrees with a low of 21, and a lingering drizzle will linger with another 40% chance, reflecting lingering moisture in the lower levels. Sunday returns to clear skies and a pleasant high of 26 degrees as high pressure reasserts itself. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic updates, the Good Food Chamber Spotlight, and tonight's Habs headlines with the top 25 under 25. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. The biggest news right now, all major routes are moving freely. Autoroute Quinns, Autoroute Cinq, and the Boulevard St. Laurent are clear with traffic flowing at normal speed. Downtown arteries like Rue St. Catherine, Rue St. Denis, and Rue St. Paul show no slowdowns, and the bridge over the St. Lawrence is open and unimpeded. With no accidents or construction reported, you can expect a smooth ride through the city this afternoon. That said, the usual evening rush will begin to build after 6 p.m., especially on Autoroute Cinq heading toward the South Shore and on Rue St. Catherine eastbound. Drivers heading downtown should keep an eye on the approach to the Tunnel de la Montagne where volumes tend to rise. Transit remains on schedule with no delays on the metro or bus network. So for now, stay on your preferred route but anticipate heavier flow as the day winds down.
Montreal's cultural heartbeat is alive at the Place des Festivals, where the International First Peoples Festival is showcasing Indigenous art and performance, a vibrant reminder of the city's global connections. Over in the gay village, Fierté Montreal keeps the celebration rolling with live sets from Trana Winter and Sami Landry, offering a soundtrack to the city's most colorful weekend. Looking ahead, the Afro Monde Festival will light up Clock Tower Quay at the Old Port later this week, inviting you to taste African music, food, and art in a waterfront party that promises unforgettable rhythms. And for anime lovers, Otakuthan arrives next week at the Palais de Congrès in Pierrefonds, a 3-day immersion into Japanese pop culture. Whether you're exploring heritage, dancing in the streets, or planning your next festival adventure, the summer pulse of Montreal is unmistakable. Stay tuned and let the city's energy guide your evening. And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs headlines heat up as prospects rise, new signings land and goals sharpen. The Canadiens' surprise dash to the playoffs in 2024-25 proved depth mattered, and the new top 25 under 25 list spotlights the young talent that fueled that run. Expect several of these 20-year-olds to battle for roster spots as Montreal eyes sustained contention. Montreal added defenseman Maximilian Schubert, bolstering the blue line after his Utah trade, while captain Noah Dobson welcomed a baby girl, a personal milestone for the locker room. Prospect Alexander Zhuravsky praised his development in Montreal, and Aaron Ambrose voiced confidence in Daniel Sauvageau's Hockey Canada leadership. The Habs locked down defenseman Maximilian Schubert on a 1-year, 2-way deal after acquiring him from the Utah Mammoth in exchange for forward Joshua Roy. The contract gives Montreal flexibility to evaluate Schubert at the NHL level while keeping cap space open for upcoming roster moves. Eyes on the Prize launches its 17th annual Top 25 Under 25, evaluating every Canadiens prospect born after September 15, 2001. With 55 eligible players matching last season's pool, the list will rank who can realistically crack the NHL roster and who remains a project. Analysts wonder if veteran Rickard Rakell could serve as a stopgap for Montreal while Michael Hage continues his development. A short-term addition would add depth to the right wing, but the Habs must weigh his impact against the long-term goal of integrating homegrown talent. Goaltender Jacob Dobish returned to Montreal declaring 4 more years dedicated to one mission, winning the Stanley Cup. He admitted the team already misses the city after a brief vacation, underscoring the collective drive as the Habs gear up for the upcoming campaign.
Good Food, headquartered on St. Laurent Boulevard in the heart of Montreal, has been a staple for busy families seeking fresh, chef-crafted meals at home. The company, which delivers pre-portioned ingredients and recipes, announced this week that it is facing significant doubt about its future after a string of financial setbacks. That uncertainty ripples through the local food tech ecosystem, putting jobs at the downtown hub and the many Montreal-grown farms that supply its boxes at risk. For neighbors who have turned dinner into a shared experience, Good Food has become more than a service. It's a reminder that the city can innovate around the table. Its fate will shape how Montreal continues to blend culinary tradition with modern convenience. Later we'll bring you the harrowing story of a 61-year-old critically injured in a Point Claire tree crash. We'll be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. A 61-year-old man is in critical condition after his car collided with a tree in Pointe-Claire, a western Montreal suburb. Police are investigating the crash. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Emergency crews arrived just minutes after a 61-year-old driver lost control on St. Laurent Boulevard, slamming his sedan into a mature maple that stands close to the curb. The impact ripped the passenger side door open, sending airbags deploying as the vehicle came to a halt against the trunk of the tree. Paramedics worked quickly to free the man, whose injuries required rapid transport to the regional hospital, where doctors placed him in critical condition. Police closed the lane for an hour while investigators documented the scene, noting that wet pavement from earlier showers may have contributed to the loss of traction. Traffic is now moving slowly as cleanup continues. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Pointe-Claire.
Violent storms swept southern Quebec Sunday, triggering a tornado warning that left residents on edge as wind and hail battered the region. Authorities are assessing damage and safety concerns. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
An unseasonably fierce storm rolled across southern Quebec on Sunday, unleashing wind gusts that ripped roofs from houses and hurling debris through streets. In several communities, dark funnel clouds touched the ground, prompting a tornado warning that sent residents scrambling for shelter. Police and fire crews raced to secure damaged power lines while neighbors gathered in basements, their faces lit by flashing emergency lights. Meteorologists traced the chaos to a deep low-pressure system that collided with warm, moist air, creating the violent conditions rarely seen this far north. Although Quebec does see strong squalls, a tornado-scale event left many locals saying they had never experienced anything like it. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us tonight. That remarkable story about the West Island residents rallying after the June floods reminded us of our community's resilience. We'll be back tomorrow on the local Sunset with more local news and insights. Stay safe, stay engaged, and see you then.